The film begins with a superhero named Deadpool. At that time, he was in a taxi heading to perform a specific mission. And he sits in the seat next to the driver, getting to know the Indian driver named Dopinder. They talk together and get to know each other, and Dopinder tells Deadpool about his old girlfriend named Geeta, saying to Deadpool, "I loved her very much, but my cousin broke my heart and married her." Deadpool had just gotten out of a relationship with someone he loved, and is advising Dopinder, telling him that when you truly love someone, you must hold on to them with both your hands and teeth. Dopinder asks Deadpool why he is dressed like that. Deadpool replies that he is going to fight some evil people, and is waiting for that moment from a year and 3 weeks ago to meet with a scientist and a leader of a gang called Ajax. And Ajax is the one who disfigured my face like this. So that's why I'm always wearing a suit. And we're going to Ajax, who was making a deal with a military general. And Ajax was selling them superhumans whose production was in his lab. And Ajax was preparing these superhumans to enter into wars, and the deal actually went through. And Ajax had the stroke. They take each other and leave. Which is supposed to happen now is that he will go fight Ajax and his nerves, but he realizes that he forgot his weapons at home, and he only has a pistol with 12 bullets. So, he has to go fight the gang with that pistol. He bids farewell to Dopinder and goes to sit on the edge of the bridge, waiting for the gang to pass by. After a little while, he sees the Ajax gang approaching, so he jumps down to start the action, getting into one of the cars and shooting everyone inside the car. And he also uses the gang members too. He targets the men riding motorcycles and causes Deadpool to have accidents on the road. And Deadpool is trying to confront the man. However, another car comes close to him and it has armed men inside. So Deadpool steps on the gas to escape from them and grabs this man. He burns his face with a lighter and makes him swallow it, and the car that Deadpool is in flips over later. And what happens is a large number, one of the gang's men is dying, and their bodies are being thrown left and right. And the road is blocked because of Deadpool, and the news is starting to talk about the incidents that are happening. There is a superhero named Classis who is watching the news, and here's the reporter saying that there is a person wearing a red suit who is responsible for these incidents. So Classis leaves his breakfast and goes alone to a superhero named Megasonic, and tells her, "We have to go to Deadpool." They stop him and they board the plane and move together to DePaul's location. We return to DePaul and we see the gang members preparing their weapons to kill him as they advance. They take their time because the road is completely closed due to the accidents that occurred. They surround the car that DePaul is in, and DePaul jumps into the air and uses 12 bullets strategically. A bullet fired hits one of the gang members and kills him. But suddenly, one appears on a motorcycle and opens fire on Deadpool. But it turns out that Deadpool is unaffected by gunfire and his body regenerates. The injured areas heal and Deadpool tries to kill this man. However, he escapes, and Deadpool is left with 7 bullets. But he did not want to waste them, so he runs between the cars, dodging the gunfire. The fire approaches the gang members. A bullet hits him squarely in the head, causing a massive explosion after he shot at a bomb, and Deadpool celebrates because he thinks they are all dead. But one of the gang appears and launches a barrage of gunfire at Deadpool, and this man believes he has killed Deadpool, but he is shocked to find that Deadpool shot him and killed him. And then, Deadpool he fires one last shot and kills 3 people with a single bullet. But the one he's after, who his men didn't realize, is extraordinary, so he won't die easily. Deadpool pulls out his swords and stabs the extraordinary one. But we don't know yet what happened, and we go back 2 years to understand the story of Deadpool. Deadpool's real name is Wade Wilson, and he used to work before. He hires thugs and goes to the house of a guy named Jeremy. Wade confronts Jeremy and threatens him to stay away from a certain girl, telling him if you get close to her again, I'll kill you. Jeremy is scared of Wade and agrees. After that, a boy goes to a girl named Megan, and we understand that Megan is the one who requested Wade to go threaten Jeremy. Wade tells her, I scared Jeremy, and I won't let him bother you. You're a superhero. But at that time he didn't like superheroes. He doesn't want anyone to compare him to any superhero because Wade considers himself a bad person and just a mercenary who hurts people for money. After finishing all his work, he goes to the bar to have a drink. And in the bar, there was a person working with Wade named Weasel, and Wade is getting to know. There is one named Venus, and Hewitt was smitten by her the first time he saw her. And Venus is also fond of him, so they decide to go out together on the same day, spending time together, enjoying themselves, and playing. After both discovered they spent a lovely time together and enjoyed themselves, they decide never to part. And after a little while, he proposes to Venus, and Venus accepts, and they take a picture to celebrate. He has this memory but a few minutes later, he suddenly faints. They take him to the hospital, and after the doctor examines him, it turns out that he has cancer in the liver, in the lungs, in the prostate, and in the brain. When I heard this, I was shocked and asked the doctor if there was any treatment for his condition, and I could see that Venusia was genuinely worried about him. He was upset that he was going to die and leave her, and we return to the present time. Deadpool is killing the superhero with his 2 swords, and there is a person on a motorcycle who reappears. Deadpool realizes that this is Ajax, so they make him fall off the motorcycle and hit him several times in the head, and take off his helmet to confirm that this is Ajax. Right after that, they stab him with the sword, and Ajax is caught between life and death. Before he dies, he wants to know the identity of Deadpool, and that's because he still doesn't know. The person in front of him has benefits. He is removing the mask and realizing who he is, and before he was going to kill Ajax. Classus arrives, grabs Deadpool, and throws him away. And at that moment, we go back again to the past when he was thinking about what to do after cancer hit him. He decides to enter the hospital and get treatment despite knowing that the treatment is not. He'll get results and anyway, he'll die. But he didn't want to stay at home so that Venetia wouldn't get more upset and sink into a state of frustration. He wanted to leave Venetia sweet memories, and before he went to the hospital, he first stopped by the bar to say goodbye to his friend. They were talking together, and his friend gave him this card and said, "That person sitting at the table over there is waiting for you." He goes to that man to see what he wants, and that man introduces himself and says, "My name is Agent Smith, and I work for an organization that can help you and cure you of the cancer you have, and also you will gain superpowers that anyone in the world dreams of." The Swedish believes that Smith is lying to him and says that he's talking nonsense, so he takes his leave and walks away. However, at night while he is sitting alone, he wasn't. He can forget what Agent Smith said, and was also thinking about Venice and not wanting her to suffer and feel troubled by his death, so he decides to go to his organization, Agent Smith, to try his luck and the only opportunity he has. And we return to the present time when he has already thrown Deadpool aside and saved Ajax and Colossus from Deadpool, joining the X-Men team. And he tells them that his superpower is good, so he must use it for goodness, isn't just in the bad. But Deadpool refuses, and tells him, it's the X-Men. That's for the good superheroes who help people. But I'm a bad superhero, and Deadpool asks him to get out of his way, so he can kill Ajax, but it turns out they're actually talking to Ajax. He'll flee, and when Deadpool discovers this, he gets angry and punches Colossus in the face. But that punch doesn't affect Colossus, and affects Deadpool instead, because Colossus is made of metal. Deadpool feels like his hand is broken, and Colossus is hitting Deadpool and throwing him away. Colossus puts handcuffs on him, and arrests him, and they take him with them to take him to the mansion of Professor X, the leader of the X-Men. Deadpool decides to cut off his hand to free himself from Colossus and escapes. After that, he jumps off the bridge and lands in a garbage truck. And what? It didn't matter to him that his hand was cut off, because his strength is extraordinary, which will allow him to regenerate his injured limbs, and he remembers the day he underwent the operation that gave him this superhuman strength, and he would have agreed to participate in the experiment that he mentioned. He had hoped that he would live a long life with Venetia, but when he entered the lab and saw the people who had been experimented on, he felt that it was a mistake for him to come here wanting to leave. But it was too late, because they were quickly tying him to his transfer. And at that moment, Wade faced the world of Ajax. Ajax was straightforward with Wade from the beginning, telling him that the experiment could cause him terrible pain, but if the experiment was successful, he would become an exceptional person. Ajax introduces him to his assistant Angel, and Ajax begins the experiment and injects Wade with the serum, and this serum alters the DNA. The nuclear experiment requires compensation, but for the test to be entirely successful, it must be subjected to intense pressure and severe torture. And indeed, they take it and start the brutal torture processes to turn it into an aggressive, emotionless being. It suffers from the numerous types of torture it's exposed to. He has been in this state for weeks, and since then, it hasn't changed much. The heroes of Ajax and his team continue to torment Void. They are shaking him in different ways, and this torture will keep going until he either gains his super strength or dies. Despite the fact that he has been living in this hell for weeks, he still loved to joke around. As usual, he jokes with the patients in the place and talks a bit. There was a subject named David, and David was also being experimented on, against his will, and Jax decides to use another method for strength. A formidable power emerges, and he decides to place Wit in the oxygen capsule. In this capsule, the oxygen will be completely evacuated until he feels like he's suffocating and dying. At that moment, they will restore the oxygen to the capsule. They will continue doing this with Wit throughout the day, and Will feels that this is the hardest torture in the world, and he says he doesn't want to be a burden. Ajax replies, "You've got it wrong. We're not training heroes here. On the contrary, we're training super soldiers to be sold for a lot of money." He understands that Jax is a crazy person who enters the capsule a lot, and he undergoes the oxygen experiment, and every little while he feels like he's dying and his soul is being pulled away, until finally his power starts to show. His powers are extraordinary, and he's gaining the strength he has right now, along with the genetic mutation that he experienced, made his face disfigured like this. But the cancer he has is completely disappearing, and Ajax tells him, "I'm the only one who can return you to your original form and heal you from the disfigurement that happened to your appearance. But I won't do that, because I want to leave you disfigured, and not knowing how to face life. And the only option you have left is to be a soldier." A supernatural being and Abd are getting closer so he can set her free. But he hits her in the face, takes a matchstick from her, and hides the tool in his mouth while no one notices. And then Ajax punishes him and leaves him for a while in the capsule. After a bit, he pulls out the matchstick, carefully lights it with his finger, and throws the match onto the device that releases oxygen. And when it makes contact with the device, an explosion occurs in one place, and most of the lab is destroyed. And Ija comes after that to see what happened, and he discovers that Wade managed to break free, and suddenly Wade attacks him and becomes very strong. And he delivers powerful blows, but Ajax was superhuman and feels no pain. He grabs Wade and tells him, "It's not in your best interest to kill me, because I am the only one who can heal you from the disfigurement that happened to your face. And Ajax is taking control of the battle and striking you down." And Wade couldn't stand against him because he was exhausted from the torture. And Ajax grabs a metal rod and stabs him in the heart and leaves him in pain and runs away from the lab. And before Wade loses consciousness, he sees David still tied up, and the fire is consuming the place. And after a few hours, Wade gets up from under the rubble. He discovers that his new super strength allows him to heal from any injury. But for him right now, there is only one thing that is important in his life, and that is Venetia. So he follows her, planning to talk to her and explain what happened to him. But he notices that everyone in the street gets scared of him when they see him, which worries him about Venetia's reaction when she sees him like this. All she could do was reject him. Because he has become ugly, he decides not to go meet Finista, and he must first go to Ajax and have him treat him. Then he goes to his friend and Zil and tells him everything. He lets him know that he will pursue Ajax's gang until he reaches Ajax himself, and Zil suggests that he wear a disguise and cover his face with anything, so as not to scare people, and so Ajax doesn't know that you are alive. And Hewitt likes Zil's idea, and decides to name he himself began to feel the urge, and went back home to start making a special outfit for himself. The first outfit he made for himself was white and covered his entire body. He was chasing the gang to find out the location of Ajax, and of course, this guy, no matter how much fire he takes, doesn't die. He kills the members of this gang, but they only recognized him as someone higher up than them in the gang that. The problem he faces with this outfit is that whenever he finishes any task in front of the people he has killed, he is covered in his outfit. So he decides to change it up and create a red outfit for himself. Then he approaches the next person and gets closer and develops his costume after every mission, adding swords and utilizing his skills in being a former mercenary to reach his Ajax men. The problem is that Ajax is completely hidden and I can't track him down. He keeps eliminating Ajax's men and no one knows how to stop him. After a few months, he manages to reach the client Smith and sees him while he tries to persuade a new victim to join the Ajax organization. And Deadpool is chasing Smith in the street until he catches him and starts beating him up to make him talk. And he says, all the information Deadpool needs to find G. And the driver met Dopinder, and everything we saw in the beginning of the film was quite frustrating for Paul, since his plan did not succeed as he had intended. He decides to go home, and we learn that a while ago he had escaped from the lab where he had been living with a blind woman named Al. On the other hand, Ajax returns to his hideout and tells Angel, his assistant, about what happened to him, and Angel is treating his wounds. Anyone who has Ajax says to her we need to get rid of Wade, because he will definitely come after me again, and Ajax is thinking of a plan to kill Wade. We return to Wade, who is talking to Il, thanking her for standing by him and supporting him lately. She advises him to go to Venetia and confront her in his new form, and she tells him as long as Venetia loves you, she will always love you no matter what you look like. I believe that Elle is saying this just because she can't see his face. If she could see his face, she would have changed her mind, and we discover that Ajax and Angel reached the bar they used to go to, and Jax found out about this place because Agent Smith is lying. He tells him that he doesn't know anyone by that name, but Angel sees a photo of Vinny and Wade at Weasel, and Angel understands he is a liar and grabs him from his neck, and at that moment, all the customers raise their weapons towards Angel, and Ajax orders Angel to let go of Weasel because they got what they wanted. As soon as Ajax leaves, Weasel calls Boyd and tells him what happened, saying that Ajax will likely go to kidnap Vanessa. Boyd worries about Vanessa and quickly moves to the place where she is working, managing to reach her first. And when he sees her, he approaches her to let her know that he is still alive. But he hesitates at the last moment and goes into the bathroom to wash his face. He tries to encourage himself to face Venetia, but suddenly one of the employees tells Venetia that there is someone who wants to see her outside because he has information about Wade and Venetia. She decides to go out immediately, but it was a trap from Ajax and Angel. He contacts Venice while Wade was leaving. He speaks to Venice but can't find her around, and when he asks Weasel, Weasel tells him, "I saw her leave the place." So he steps outside and finds a wallet of Venice lying on the ground, and Wade realizes that Ajax made a mistake. Venice and he returns home. He and Weasel were extremely angry and agitated. He was destroying the house, and he receives a message from Ajax on his phone. Venice and Ajax asks him to meet in a specific junkyard. And right away, they go to gather all the weapons they have in the house and put them in a bag, because he knows that facing Ajax will not be easy. Before he leaves, he bids farewell to Ol and thanks her for letting him live with her. And Jit Paul needed a little support, so he goes to the palace of Team X and asks for help from Classis and Negasonic because Venom saves Venetia and tells Ninja Sonic, "You are the reason for Ajax running away from me, so you must help me and fix your mistake." Ninja Sonic agrees to help him, and for the second time, the driver Dopinder arrives to take Deadpool to his mission, and Deadpool and Colossus and Ninja S are also there. On the way, Deadpool asks Dopinder about his ex-girlfriend, and Dopinder replies, "I tried to go back to her, but she refused because my cousin looks better. So I decided to hide my cousin and put him in the trunk of the car, and I calmed down." When Bull heard that, he was proud of Dopinder, but he was concerned that Classy would hit him, because Classy would definitely oppose Deadpool encouraging anyone to kidnap. In Deadpool's role, he tells Dopinder that what you did is wrong. You need to free your cousin. And then, Dopinder drives them. They arrive at the venue, and the three of them get out of the taxi and enter the place. But Deadpool realizes that his weapon bag is in the taxi, so he calls Dopinder, but Dopinder gets into an accident, so he won't be able to get to Deadpool right now. So Deadpool is forced to fight with the swords he has, but suddenly a large number of armed soldiers appear, along with Ajax and Angel. The character above, and Angel comes down to fight them and hold them back, and Classis approaches her confidently, but Angel strikes him with a powerful blow. And from there, Angel appears to be very strong, and then Sonic decides to intervene. She uses her power and hits Angel while the soldiers start firing at our team and Classis. Classis throws a large tire at the soldiers and knocks them down while Angel fights. Second with Classis while Deadpool and Negasonic are hiding to avoid the gunfire. Deadpool raises a white flag and tells them, "I surrender." The soldiers stop shooting, and Deadpool says to them, "Ajax is a bad guy and he's using you, and I can save you from him if you stop shooting." But the plan fails, and the soldiers continue to shoot at him, forcing Deadpool to kill them and escape. He fights them with his sword, splitting their bodies in half and blowing their brains away. Meanwhile, Classis and Angel are still fighting each other, both equally matched in strength, and Negasonic is helping Deadpool reach the upper level. Up there was Ajax in a capsule like the one he was trapped in. Ninja Sonic gives Deadpool a boost and takes him to the second round with her strength. He faces Ajax head-on, and Deadpool promises Vanessa that he will save her, and she realizes that the masked person is Wade Wilson. At that moment, Ajax is extracting oxygen from Vanessa's capsule. He approaches Deadpool, and they confront each other, both fighting fiercely. Deadpool throws his sword at Vanessa's capsule to oxygen saves her. It enters the capsule and Vanessa can breathe and urinate. He has become engaged in battle, with Ajax wielding a single sword in Ajaxi. She was superior to him, and Ajax managed to destroy his second sword, and that was it. Paul found himself compelled to fight with just his hands while he was already struggling against Angel, who was choking him with a metal rod. And Vanessa is escaping from the capsule, and Ajax take control of their battle with Paul and throw Deadpool. Paul's far away and stabs Deadpool in the head with a dagger, grabbing him by the head and continues to hit him. But some people come from behind Ajax and stab him with Deadpool's sword. Since Deadpool has taken a dagger in the head, he wasn't able to move or think to the extent that he's seeing cartoon characters moving beside Vanessa. And Ajax rises to attack Vanessa and throws her away. Deadpool pulls the dagger from his head, and Vegasonic uses all her strength to save Classis. As a result, a huge explosion occurs, and the place gets destroyed. At that moment, Deadpool manages to recover from the injuries he sustained, and attacks Ajax, while simultaneously trying to save Phoenicia from the containers that might fall on her. He decides to put her back in the capsule to ensure she is safe. E-Man and Ajax fall down from above, and Clackus takes Angel's body, and Ninja Sonic escapes quickly, and then the place completely collapses. And Venetia was safe, thanks to the capsule. And then Ninja Sonic comes to her and rescues her. And DePaul and Ajax continue their fight together. And DePaul managed to break Ajax's arms. And DePaul threatens and says to him, "Heal me, or I will kill you." But Ajax says there is nothing. A treatment for your condition, and you'll remain ugly like this for the rest of your life. Deadpool gets angry, and he had no choice but to kill Ajax. The Colossus appears and asks Deadpool not to kill him, telling him, "Be a true superhero and show some mercy." But Deadpool doesn't care about his words. He kills Ajax, and then Vanessa comes in and hits him because he left her and disappeared for a long time. He forgives her for not saying anything, and he tells her that but I was scared before you, and my face is disfigured. Vanessa is wearing the mask. It was hiding her face behind the mask, and the fugitive is lifted by her. And the fugitive sees a boy's face and is shocked by what happened. But she tells him that she will definitely get used to your new look afterward. He asks Classics and Negasonic to leave and return to the palace. Professor X tells Khaleesi that one day they will recruit you for Team X. And this is where the first part of the Deadpool movie ends. Stay tuned for the summary of the second part and help us reach 8,000 likes so I know you want the second part. Which when we reach the end of the episode, I want you to put the 7 emoji in the comments so that I know who enjoyed the episode. And bye-bye.